Not many people are willing to work alone in the forests of Alaska. Not because of the cold, not because of the distance from civilization, but because of the silence. The silence there is not empty. It feels attentive. The man's name was Evan Miller, 34 years old, a seasonal forest ranger assigned to a remote area near Tongass National Forest, southeast Alaska. The location was so isolated that radio signals only came through a few hours a day, and ground access was nearly impossible. Evan's job was simple on paper: monitor forest trails, record wildlife activity, log weather conditions, and ensure no one trespassed into protected land. Every ranger was required to keep a night log, a written record of observations after sunset. Nothing unusual. Until Evan's logs were found. Day 1. Assignment. Evan's first entry was routine: cold temperatures, light snowfall, distant wolf howls after dark. His writing was calm and professional, no fear, no concern, but at the bottom of the page, one extra sentence appeared. The forest feels too quiet after midnight. It wasn't wrong, but it was strange, because an Alaskan forest is never truly quiet.
Day 3. Unknown tracks. By the third night, his tone shifted. Evan reported finding large footprints near a narrow river behind the station. They didn't belong to a bear. They didn't look human. He described them as nearly 40 centimeters long, stride length too wide, too evenly spaced for any animal he recognized. He wrote, "It could be snow distortion, but I'm not convinced." Still rational, still grounded. Day 5. Something outside. On the fifth night, Evan didn't sleep. At approximately 1:30 a.m., he recorded hearing slow footsteps outside the station. Not rushing, not wandering. The steps circled the building, deliberately. He stepped outside with his flashlight. There was no one there, but the snow around the station was covered in fresh tracks. The unsettling part? The tracks didn't lead in from the forest. They appeared as if they had always been there. Day 7. The radio answered. This was the entry that alarmed his supervisors. Evan wrote that his radio turned on by itself at exactly 2:17 a.m. Not static, not interference. He heard breathing, slow, close, as if the microphone was inches away from something or someone. When Evan spoke into the radio, the sound stopped. Silence returned immediately. He added, "I know this sounds irrational, but it feels like I'm being watched." Day 9. Do not go outside. On the 9th night, Evan broke protocol. He left the station after midnight. The log from that night was short, fragmented, his handwriting noticeably shakier. "I saw a shape between the trees, too tall. It doesn't move like an animal." One line had been crossed out, but was still readable. It was standing there, watching. Day 11. The final entry. This was Evan Miller's last night log, time-stamped 1:58 a.m. "I am not alone here. The sound is now right outside the walls. If anyone finds this..." The sentence ended there. No signature, no closing time. The search.
The next morning, Evan failed to respond to radio check-ins. Due to a severe snowstorm, a search team wasn't dispatched until 2 days later. The station was found locked from the inside. No signs of struggle, no blood, no damage. All of Evan's belongings were still there. His winter jacket, his boots, his flashlight, his radio, everything except Evan. The footprints in the snow around the station ended abruptly a few meters away, as if he didn't walk anywhere, as if he simply stopped existing there.
Officially, Evan Miller's disappearance was classified as a missing person case, likely caused by extreme environmental conditions. There was no mention of the radio transmissions, the footsteps, the night logs. Those details never appeared in public reports. But copies of Evan's logs still exist. They were never fully released. Veteran rangers assigned to Alaska have shared one quiet rule among themselves. If you hear something in the forest after midnight, don't go outside to look for it.
The Alaskan wilderness remains. Rangers are still assigned. Night logs are still written. But to this day, no ranger is willing to work alone for too long in the area where Evan disappeared. Because in Alaska, silence doesn't mean empty, and not everything that watches wants to be seen.